Hi, I'm Andrew from Parlogram Auctions and welcome to another unboxing weekend. In this video, I'm going to be unboxing a great collection of 1960s UK pressings from some of the biggest British groups from that decade. The Stones, the Kinks, the Who, the Hollies and of course the Beatles. Now when buying records from anybody, I always make sure to tell them to make sure they separate the vinyl from the covers because, as you know, they could split the cover seams in transit. Thankfully, this shipping company followed my instructions, but took it to the extreme and shipped the records in one box and the covers in another, which makes things tricky as far as unboxing videos go. So in this, the first of two videos, I'll show you the disc unboxing first and the covers in the next video. It's a long but good one, so settle down with a cup of something big and enjoy. So ready or not, here I come. So these have been packed by a professional furniture company, so I'm expecting overpacking galore. And that's exactly what it looks like we've got. Lots of plastic chips, not even the biodegradable ones. Okay, so let's see how many packages we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the end of that. I think that's good enough, so let's carefully dig in. Don't worry, as usual, all this bubble wrap will be reused. I don't think I've ever bought any bubble wrap for the last 20 years. House is overflowing with it. Okay, so I did instruct this company to separate all the records from the inner sleeves, which people very rarely do. And it drives me absolutely mad when records arrive in the sleeve and the seams are split. Anyway, let's kick off with the Rolling Stones. This is a Robert Stace inner sleeve dating from 1968, 69. There's no date code on it, some were date coded. Let's have a look at the record. So this is a 1969 pressing, because you can see there's no deep groove around the Decca label there, as was on first pressings. And this is of Rolling Stones' first album, and the matrices are 6271-2A, and on the other side, and that's -3A. I'm sorry if you can't see these really clearly. It's very difficult to catch the light in the proper way. That's probably better that side. I'll keep doing that. Okay, so that's a 1968 pressing, or 69 pressing of their first album. Not many spindle marks on that side. 1 or 2 on there. So that bodes well for the rest of the collection. Even though it's a later pressing, it's still a great sounding record. So these have all been separated, so I think you're going to see all the records first before you see the sleeves. but that's okay. Okay, we've got a correct pie inner sleeve from 1971. Polylined, of course. This is the Kinks. The Kinks, this is their double greatest hits album, if you like, on blue pie. There's all the hits on there. That one doesn't look like it's been played at all. Now remember, the description on these records said that these were bought by the original owner, taped to reel, and stored away. And so far, that seems to be a very plausible description. And there's the other album of that set, side 3 and side 4. There is an error in the cover, which we'll see if we've got later on, but there's one spindle mark on that side, absolutely nothing on that side, or maybe one. It's about as close to as new as you could possibly get, and still in the original polylined inners. Right, still with Decca. Decca were of course responsible for pressing Brunswick records in the UK. And there's none better than this album, The Who, My Generation. Starting on side 1, again, 1 or 2 spindle marks on there. Matrix is, see if we can get it closer, yep, there we go, 1B. And on the other side, oh, you can see it, I can't, 1B2, okay. There we go, that is a beautiful looking copy of The Who's 1965 LP, My Generation. Yeah. Very difficult to find in this condition, because it was one of these records which was played and played and played, as they should be. And usually it's a bit of a sad thing when you find records in this condition. It means they weren't loved, or they were just left, not played. But these did have a life, you know, they were taped and enjoyed on tape rather than a record, which was a very sensible idea. This is emerging from its Emitex inner, with a few hairs. This is the Hollies' first LP, Stay With the Hollies. It's whiting out a little bit, but that is a nice yellow parlophone symbol there. Again, not a lot of spindle action on there. And that's a very early pressing with this chubby font, which was first seen on the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night, which was PMC 1230, so just a few LPs after this one. And this is a 1N, and this should be 1N as well, and it is. A few hairs, but really nothing to suggest that's been played very much at all. Not their best album, the Hollies. A lot of cover versions on there before they started writing their own stuff. But a spirited performance nonetheless. Okay, coming further back. This is a mid-60s Decca inner sleeve, housing another Stones album. I say mid-60s, it must be late 60s, because this is Beggar's Banquet. Sympathy for the Devil, kicking off that album. And this has a 2K, 1K matrix. There we go. And again, one spindle mark, and pretty much as new. I'm really quite excited about seeing the covers for these. If they're as good as the records, then it will be a happy day. Now, what's this? This is something from Ode Records. An Ode inner sleeve, silver. Not sure what it's got inside it. And it has Tommy. The Tommy film soundtrack. There it is, marketed by A&M. And there's the Ode symbol on that label too. 1972, UK first pressing. All the ode matrices there, A1. There's the sterling mastering stamp from the States. And there it is. And this is presumably the other one. Yeah, slightly different label, silver colour this one. Again, the sterling mastering stamp. And there's the label of the other side. Appears to have been cut here for some reason. Might have been a cutout, don't know. There's a familiar label in the correct inner sleeve, which suffered a little bit. The glue really did go off on these inner sleeves very quickly. This, of course, is Sticky Fingers. There's a little message in there, Rolling Stones Records, and looking at the matrix on that one. It's, can you see that? That's A3, isn't it? It's upside down. I'm used to it the other way. It's A3. There it is. A3, this should be B3 in that case. And it is. There we go. That's a little bit dusty, but I'll figure out that. A couple of spindle marks, but really a nice weight to that disc. Records from this date really were reaching their zenith production. So going back to 1966, this slightly yellowed inner sleeve belongs to the Rolling Stones Aftermath. There it is. One tiny spindle mark there. And on the other side, one tiny one there. Matrix on this one is B1, or sorry, 1B, and 1A on that side. Yeah. Is that a scratch? No, it's a her. That's a bit of dust. A few hers on the more familiar. This in the sleeve. But I know it's not the Beatles because the Beatles stuff is in the other package, which hasn't arrived yet. It was sent the same day, but it hasn't arrived yet. But there's not for you to worry about. This is the Hollies' Greatest. This is a stereo pressing of their extremely popular first Greatest Hits album. Again, not played very much. I prefer the mono pressing of this album because then you get all the original 45 hit mixes. Some of the Hollies stereo stuff is a bit tough to listen to. It involves a lot of left-right, hard vocals, panning, action. Never mind. All right, back to 1964 and a lovely crisp Use Emitex inner sleeve. This one housing the Animals. It's on Columbia. It's a -1 and -1, famously rejected by Dave Dexter at Capitol, but great success on EMI and Columbia. House of the Rising Sun is not on that album, but it's a really decent rockin' R&B album. More Parlophone action here, this time in a patent supplied for inner sleeve, which would say to me it's 1966. Okay, 67. Another Hollies album, a really decent effort, this one. This is Evolution. It started to go a bit psychedelic. Very interesting album. Looking forward to see the cover to that because that really is a beautiful cover. Again, not played very much. In superb condition. And staying with the Hollies, this is their second album, this one from 1964. This is in the Hollies style. Again, the Hollies, it's not a big seller, this album. It didn't do that well. Look, a really big run out groove there. That's how this is 2N, 1N, as all first pressings were. Again, lots of cover versions on here. A lot of things the Beatles did as well. Too Much Monkey Business starting off that side, but a really, really nice copy. Nice inner sleeve too, which this paper always turns yellow, no matter how well it's looked after. Staying with EMI, we've got advertisements for Revolver here. So this is a late 66 inner sleeve belonging to another Hollies album. This one is Butterfly. This is one of my favourites of their albums. This is a stereo copy again, by the way. A bit harder to find than the mono. It's a -2 and a -1. Yep, that's one of my favourite Hollies albums. Although I prefer their singles to their albums, to be honest. Okay, so how about that for an opening first package? Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now, feels like more records here actually. So it looks like we're going to do all the records in all the sleeves. Ah, no, there is some Beatles in here. I thought the Beatles was in another package, but that's obviously Beatles. So here we go. It's the White Album, stereo pressing, -1, -1. Does have the an EMI recording there, so it's not a really, really early first pressing. That's original black inner sleeve. And there's the other disc. It's got a couple more spindle marks on there. Always the disc that gets played the most. Everything present and correct there. That's actually a -2 matrix on that side. Yeah, more Beatles. We've hit the Beatles package. All right. Clear windowed Imitex inner. Last time this was used for Beatles albums. On this album, this is A Hard Day's Night. Again, 1 or 2 spindle marks there. Original chubby fonted label. That side and that side. This has an MT tax code on it. And -3N matrices. Now the stampers are in the 5, so nothing special there. Really, really nice. With the Beatles, there it is. This is your ubiquitous -7N, the most frequently seen. Second press labels. Yeah, I have to apologise for the white balance of the camera here. It's only on the phone and it doesn't have the control to set it, so it doesn't make the colours look odd. Anyway, this is Revolver. It's not an early pressing, although it's a 60s pressing. There's a few more spindle marks on that one. It's a -1, and -1 of course, and with the Dr. Robert spelling there on label 2. It's a late 66, early 67 inner sleeve, due to the presence of a collection of Beatles' oldest, which came out in December 1966. This is Rubber Soul. Hope you've looked at our last video about this, our latest video about Rubber Soul. Then you know all about this. This is a -1, the loud cut, as they say. And a few spindle marks on there. And this is a -1 too. A little bit of dust and whatever, but you know, not played very much at all. I wish it had been a -5, but you can't have everything, can you? Another apple, patents number. Just Let It Be. A little bit of spindle action there, but it is a first pressing. Excuse me, it is a first pressing. It's a -2U and a 2U as there, 2U there as well. Not much spindle action on that side, but a really nice sounding cut. The first pressing of Let It Be. Sadly, in this collection, does not come with a box set. I don't know. And the black inner, this time belonging to Abbey Road. A few spindle marks there. It's of course a -2 and a -1. Stampers aren't particularly early, but this one comes without Her Majesty on the label. You usually find more copies without Her Majesty on the label on these dark apples as you do without. Ones with Her Majesty on the label seem to be rarer, that's what I'm trying to say. Please Please Me, standard pressing with the fourth version of the label. Oh, third version. There it is, everything in order for that one. A really nice clean copy. Very common album, but again, these Beatles albums are very tough to find in top condition because they were played just as they were meant to. This has gone very yellow and very late as well. This is yeah, there's a few hairs on it. This is John Lennon, Rock and Roll. There are a few later ones in there. It's a 1U and 1U mastered from American plates. Yeah. Okay. This is a Capitol inner sleeve, so I don't know what's in here. Oh, Capitol record, of course. Yeah, this is the Beatles songbook. This is the Holly Ridge Strings. I've never had a Holly Ridge string album before. It's a later one from 1968. Magical Mystery Tour, and all those sort of things on it. On Capitol, mono. Is there any more in here? Yeah, there is. And here we are with McCartney. Paul's first solo album, 1970. Looks really clean. This is a 2U. And another 2U. There we are, but really nice and clean. Right, okay, that's that one done. So are these all covers, I think? No, I don't know. They still feel pretty heavy to me. Maybe the covers are all coming in the other package, in the other box. Maybe this box contains all the records and they package the covers in the other box, which hasn't arrived yet, to me anyway. Because I did tell them to separate the covers and the records. I made quite a strong point about it actually, so maybe they thought the best way to do that was to separate entirely the records from the covers by putting them in different boxes. Not that I'm complaining, but just means I've got a video of looking at covers and video of looking at records. I don't need the knife for this. Be careful of that masking tape. There we go, we all know what that is. Sgt. Pepper inner sleeve, of course. This is stereo. Looks like a nice copy. Nice standard first pressing. Stampers, what are the stampers on that? 1O and 2M. So it's quite an early copy. It's beautiful. Psychedelic inner sleeve. Back to 1964, this is Beatles for Sale. A few more spindle marks on that one. It's 3N, 3N. You can see what these inner sleeves do to the playing surfaces. Give it all these little hairlines. There's some, I don't know what that is. It might come off, he says, hopefully. Right, this is not Beatles. Well, it looks like it, but it's not. It is Help, but it's on Columbia, but it's by George Martin and his orchestra. It's not actually an album I've ever owned before. It's a 1G as well. Very early, not a big seller. And of course, most of the incidental, or most of this music went on the American Help album as a Ken Thorne instrumentals. I don't think George got a look in. This is a great sounding album in its original Polydor inner sleeve 2. This is a German pressing of the Beatles' first. There it is. These great sounding Hamburg recordings. Fantastic. Beautiful copy too. Great sound. Capitol again. This is familiar to many people. This is the American stereo pressing of Magical Mystery Tour. Capitol's greatest achievement, some say. Original inner sleeve 2 with this little cutout at the top. More Emitex, and this time it's Help. Handful of spindle marks there. That's a -2 and a -2. A few more spindle marks there. Really nice looking copy. Be interested to see if the sleeve matches up on that, but you don't know. More George Martin action here. Off the Beatle track. Again with that chubby text. Again, looks like that's a 1R, 1G. Off the Beatle track, instrumental music by George Martin. And one more in this package. It's got to be, of course. Oh, there we go. Doesn't got to be anything. It's George Harrison's Wonderwall. Stereo pressing. With sold in UK, so an early one. Not played very much at all. That's a 1G on that side. What's on this side? That's a 1G too. So your earliest possible pressing of that album by George Harrison. Corrected in sleeve 2, patent supplied for. Right, that's that one out of the way. Okay, on with 2 more. Thinking how I'm going to edit this video. Am I going to edit together the covers and the records together, or I'm just going to do the covers by themselves or the records by themselves? I don't know. But this is just the way it's turning out today. Oh dear, that's suffered again, isn't it? A bit funny, this 70s one look in worse condition than the 60s ones. It's mind games. Which has really suffered from the dreaded foxing on the paper. Some more Lennon here. It's Walls and Bridges. This one looks to be in not such good shape. There's a sticker removal mark there and some scuffing there, so that's a shame. Yeah, it seems to be played quite a bit. So the later ones obviously not taken care of as well as the early ones. This is of course Tug of War. Yeah, I think this one's been played as well. I think he must have given up his reel-to-reel recording by this time and just started playing them. That's, by the way, that's an 8U and a 6U matrix, if you're interested. More solo action, Lennon, Imagine. Again, a bit of yellowing on the inner sleeve and some dirt, but that'll come off with the record cleaning machine. There's George Peckham's signature there. That's the -1. Porky Peckham, George Peckham, the record cutter, and 1U. There we go. I recognise that as the inner sleeve to Plastic Ono Band. 1U and 1U. Pretty decent copy, just got these sort of spots of dirt here, you see that? But they'll come out with a bit of gentle cleaning. I spy more Beatles in the form of Yellow Submarine, which is in better condition than the last few we've just looked at. It's the first pressing stereo, -1. -1, looks really nice. Original black inner. Got a bit of a tear down there, as a lot of them had. Again, a later one, but not such good condition. Wow, that's heavy. That's a heavy record. Double Fantasy. That's been well played. It's pretty filthy. So is the inner sleeve. I had this one in a few weeks ago, actually. It's the Linger Song album, Live at the Star Club. Double album, and there's the other one. Looks like the other ones I've seen pretty much unplayed. Other people bought it just for curiosity's sake. Right, we're back to the good stuff now. Well, a bit sticky, and its original polyol inner, which I hope hasn't made a mark. It hasn't actually, which is good. Get a lot of plastic migration from these inner sleeves. This is Tommy. A couple of spindle marks there. And that one, even less. Side 4. B1 on that side and A1 on that side. And here, hopefully, is the other one. It is. Side 3 and side 2. So these are numbered, side 1 and 4 and 3 and 2. Again, that's no plastic migration there, even though that was a bit sticky, which is good. So no clouding or anything like that. That's A1, and that's B//1. Really nice looking copy of Tommy. Let's hope the sleeve matches up to expectations, but we're not going to see, well, I'm not going to see the sleeves until tomorrow. More stones. Earlier in the sleeve here, again the yellowing has struck. This one looks to be a first pressing. She said yeah. So this one is out of our heads. Matrix on this one is, I can't see it, 11B. 11B and 10A. Handful of spindle marks there. Even less on side 1. Looks good, mono. More stones, more mono. This one's the Rolling Stones number 2, but again it's a 68, 69 pressing with no deep groove around it, but it's still 1A matrix and 2A matrix. But again, not played very much at all. Beautiful. This inner sleeve does actually have a date code on it, which will help us date it. This is February 69. RS being Robert Stace, the printers. This one doesn't have a date on it. It just says RS. This is Between the Buttons. Matrix 1A. Nice and clean again. And 3A on that side. Again, there's a few spindle marks there, but not been played much at all. What this is Satanic Majesty's Request. It's a stereo pressing. 5K matrix on that one. And 5K on that side too. A couple of spindle marks on that side, none on the other. A couple of finger marks there, but they will come off. So more kinks. This is Arthur. Or Arthur, or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire. Stereo pressing, 1969. Doesn't look though it's been played at all. In its original pie inner sleeve. One more packet left. One more packet left. Gosh. Right, so we've got EMI 1968. or 69, no, 68. This is the Hollies Sing Dylan from 1969 actually. There it is. Pretty nice. Very clean. I haven't seen my favourite Hollies album for certain because in here, but I don't think we're going to get that. I'm not sure, I can't remember. Anyway, going to go here with the Beards. Birds, Mr. Tambourine Man. Mono, 1965 first pressing. Played a couple of times. That's all. Again, original inner sleeve from CBS of that period. Not stones this time, animals. Matrix 1A and 1A. First Decca album might be Animal Tracks, but no spindle marks or tracks on those labels. Amazing. Again, oops, original inner sleeve, different to the other Deccas actually. There's no reason to believe that's not original. This is original. It's got a date code of August 1970 on it. Robert Stace again, stereo pressing of Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. Stones, that's got 1W matrix and 1W2. Not a lot of spindle action there at all. Very nice. Here's an inner sleeve you don't see very often. This is quite a rare one. One with rubber sole on it. We saw this earlier with a collection of oldies, goldies and Revolver on, but this one is like half Capital and half EMI. Dates from 1966. This is another Hollies album from that period, Would You Believe? Again, still doing a lot of cover versions on this album, although it does finish up with I Can't Let Go, one of their best singles. Certainly never see this in the sleeve on a Beatles album. More Hollies. Dusty. It looks pretty much unplayed, doesn't it? This is the Hollies, just self-titled LP, The Hollies from 1965. Got a few good tracks on here, Put Yourself in My Place. But they're still doing Lordy Miss Claudie and Fortune Teller on here. So Lonely, best track on here, which was the B-side of Look Through Any Window, which isn't on the album. More Stones, latest 70s. This is date coded as January 1971. It's one of their Decca compilations. Stone Age. Collection of bits and pieces Decca put together. Looks pretty much unplayed as well. Or near enough. Coming to the end, folks. You're not half as disappointed as I am that we're coming to the end. There we go. This is the correct inner sleeve. It's a bit mangled, but there we go. This is Exile on Main Street, side 2. That says that's B1. And this side is A2. See it? There it is. A2. Exile on Main Street. Hopefully the other one's in there as well. Yeah. There it is. side 4, which is D1, and side 3, which is C1. Very nice condition. A little bit dusty, but never mind. It's obviously going to be Let It Bleed. This one still has the London Bach Choir credit, which was deleted very quickly after its release, due to objections from the choir themselves, I believe. Okay, this is a 1W, Let It Bleed, 2 spindle marks there, and 1W on that side, a couple on that side as well. Is this the last one? It is. No, there's 2 more. This is I see. This is a German copy of Rock and Roll Music, 1976 on Odeon. Be interesting to put that to the test and compare it with the UK and American one, which I may do at some point in the future. It looks a bit worse for wear, to be honest. There's a bit of it's just a bit of dirt, nothing too dramatic. There we go. Wow, that is the best collection of records I've unboxed for a very, very long time. Now all we've got to do is hope that the covers are as good.